The invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning. Cream-colored paper, gold lettering, my ex-husband's name, printed right there next to hers. Chloe Bennett, his secretary, the woman he'd sworn was just a colleague. My name is Emily Carter, and I was holding proof that Daniel had moved on exactly the way I'd suspected. The envelope sat on my kitchen counter like evidence. I didn't cry. I'd done enough of that 18 months ago when I found the lipstick on his collar, and his mother called me inadequate. Instead, I picked up my phone and took a picture of the invitation. Saved it to a folder I'd been building since the divorce. Documentation. Everything needed to be documented. My hands were steady as I read the date. 6 weeks away. June 15th. A summer wedding at the Riverside Estate, the same venue where Daniel had once promised me forever. The irony wasn't lost on me. Neither was the audacity. They actually expected me not to show up, expected me to hide, to disappear quietly like a problem they'd solved. I set the invitation down carefully. Then I smiled for the first time in months. "He thinks I won't come," I said to my empty apartment. "Watch me." I remembered the night everything collapsed. November, 2 years ago. Rain hammering the windows, Daniel's car in the driveway at 11:30 on a Wednesday. He never came home early. I'd found the lipstick first. Coral pink, smudged on his collar. Then the receipts in his jacket pocket. Dinner for 2 at restaurants I'd never been to. Hotel charges on dates he'd claimed to be traveling for work. When I confronted him, he didn't even try to deny it. Just looked at me with those cold eyes I didn't recognize anymore. "Emily, you're overreacting," he'd said. Calm. Dismissive. Like I was being unreasonable for noticing my marriage was ending. His mother, Victoria, arrived the next morning. Let herself in with her key. Found me packing his things. "A man like Daniel needs someone more polished," she'd said. Standing in my living room, judging my sweatpants and unwashed hair. Someone who understands his ambitions. I'd watched through the window as Daniel loaded his suitcases. Chloe sat in the passenger seat of his Mercedes. Blonde hair perfect, smile victorious. She'd waved, actually waved at me like we were friends. That image burned itself into my memory. That smile, that wave. I promised myself I'd never forget it. The divorce happened fast. Daniel's lawyer was expensive and ruthless. Mine was overworked and underpaid. 6 months after that rainy November night, I sat in a courtroom watching my life get divided like community property. The house went to Daniel. My name was on the deed, but his lawyer argued he'd made the down payment. My lawyer barely fought back. Victoria sat behind Daniel, smirking. Chloe wasn't there, but I felt her presence anyway, hovering like a ghost, waiting to move into my house, my life, my future. The judge ruled in Daniel's favor on almost everything. I kept my car and half our savings, $40,000. Everything else stayed with him. When it ended, I walked out with 2 suitcases and a checking account that would last maybe 6 months if I was careful. Daniel's lawyer packed his briefcase, satisfied. My lawyer touched my arm. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Then quieter, almost conspiratorial. "You might want to check his business accounts. Some of those transactions during discovery looked off." I stopped walking. "Off how?" She glanced around. "Just off. Keep copies of everything." I already had. Every document, every email, every bank statement I'd ever seen. Saved on 3 separate hard drives. Hidden. Safe. Waiting. I spent weeks going through the files. Late nights in my tiny apartment, spreadsheets open, numbers swimming. I'm not an accountant, but I know how to read patterns. And the patterns in Daniel's company records were wrong. Transfers that didn't match invoices. Payments to vendors that didn't exist. Money moving in circles that only made sense if someone was hiding something. Embezzlement. Not massive amounts. Small. Careful sums over 3 years. 50,000 here, 30,000 there. Routed through shell companies with names that sounded legitimate until you looked closer. Chloe's signature appeared on half the transfer authorizations, Daniel's on the rest. They'd been stealing from their own investors, hiding it in offshore accounts, covering it with falsified reports. I saved every file, cross-referenced every transaction, built a timeline that proved exactly when the theft started and how long it had continued. No one knew I had this. Not my lawyer, not my friends. This was mine. My insurance. My leverage. My way back from the humiliation of losing everything to a man who'd replaced me with his secretary. I closed the laptop and stared at my reflection in the dark screen. He has no idea what's coming, I said to myself. And for the first time since the divorce, I meant it. The transformation started small. I joined a gym. Not for him, for me. Needed to feel strong again. The first month was hard. Everything hurt. But slowly, my body remembered what it felt like to move, to sweat, to push through something difficult and come out better. I started seeing friends again. Real ones. The kind who'd called during the divorce and meant it when they said they were there. We went to dinner, laughed at terrible movies, remembered what normal felt like. I took a digital marketing course. Always wanted to learn it, never had time when I was being Mrs. Daniel Carter. Turned out I was good at it. Really good. By month 4, I'd lost 20 pounds I didn't need to lose but felt better without. My hair was different. Shorter, sharper. My clothes fit better. I looked in the mirror and saw someone I recognized. Someone who'd survived. Then the call came. "Emily Carter," a man's voice asked. Professional. Unfamiliar. Yes. "My name is Thomas Lang. I'm looking for someone with your skill set. Are you interested in discussing a position at Lang Industries?" Lang Industries. Daniel's biggest competitor. I smiled into the phone. "Very interested," I said. The interview was the following week. By Friday, I had an offer. 40% more than I'd made before. Better title. Better office. Poetic justice was just beginning. Working at Lang Industries meant hearing things. Office gossip traveled fast, and Daniel's company was struggling. Chloe had taken over operations after Daniel promoted her to VP. Big mistake. She was good at looking competent, terrible at actually being it. Projects were delayed. Clients were unhappy. 2 major investors had pulled out last quarter. The rumors said Daniel was scrambling, blaming market conditions, bad timing, anything except his own poor judgment in letting his secretary run his business. I kept my head down and did my job, exceeded expectations, built relationships, proved I belonged there. Then one afternoon, Thomas Lang called me into his office. He was 56, silver-haired, sharp-eyed, built his company from nothing, respected in the industry. "Emily," he said, gesturing to a chair, "I hear you used to work closely with Daniel Carter." "I was married to him," I corrected. No point hiding it. He nodded. "Then you know how his company operates." "I do." Thomas leaned back. "His firm is collapsing. Bad management, worse decisions. We're positioned to acquire his contracts if the situation deteriorates further." He paused. "Would you help us make that happen?" I looked at him carefully. "What exactly are you asking?" "Strategic advice. Inside knowledge. Nothing illegal. Just help us outmaneuver him." I thought about Victoria's smirk, Chloe's wave, Daniel's cold dismissal. "Yes," I said. "I'll help you take his company down." The plan took shape over 3 weeks. I mapped out Daniel's weaknesses, his client relationships, his dependencies. Every vulnerability I'd seen during our marriage became a strategic target. Thomas assembled a team. I provided intelligence. We identified his 3 biggest clients and created competing offers. Better terms, better service, better results. One by one, we'd pull them away. But that wasn't enough. I wanted more than business victory. I wanted personal vindication. The wedding was 8 weeks away. I had time. I drafted a timeline. Phase 1, destabilize his client base. Phase 2, expose the financial fraud I'd documented. Phase 3, attend his wedding, and watch everything collapse in real time. No anger now, just precision. I reviewed the documents I'd saved. The embezzlement evidence was solid, provable, devastating. I contacted a lawyer, not the one from my divorce. Someone new, someone ruthless. She reviewed everything and smiled. "This will destroy him," she said. "When do you want to file?" I checked my calendar. The wedding was June 15th. "June 14th, I said. "I want him to spend his wedding day knowing what's coming." She nodded. "Consider it done." I walked out of her office, feeling something I hadn't felt in 2 years. Power, control, justice. "I'll end his empire on his wedding day," I said into my car's rearview mirror, and I meant every word. I needed eyes inside Daniel's world. Someone who could tell me what was really happening behind the corporate facade. That's when I thought of Amy Porter. We'd been friends in college, stayed close afterward. She worked in event planning and happened to be coordinating Daniel's wedding. I called her from my office, voice casual. "Amy, it's Emily." Pause. "Emily Carter? Oh my God, how are you?" We talked for 20 minutes. Caught up, laughed about old times. Then I steered the conversation. "I heard you're planning a wedding at Riverside Estate in June." Her voice changed. "Careful." "Yeah, Daniel Carter and Chloe Bennett." "I know," I said. "He sent me an invitation." Silence. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said honestly. "Actually, I need a favor." I explained what I wanted. Not sabotage, just information. Guest lists, seating arrangements, timing. Amy hesitated. "Emily, I don't know. He replaced me with his secretary and took everything in the divorce. I just want to know what's happening. Please." She sighed. "Okay, but nothing that gets me fired." "Nothing illegal," I promised. "Just keep me informed." 2 days later, she texted. They moved the wedding up. 2 weeks from now, May 30th. Chloe's nervous about something. I stared at my phone. 2 weeks. My timeline just compressed. Time to accelerate everything. I texted back. "Perfect. Keep me posted." Then I called my lawyer. "We're filing early. I need everything ready by May 28th. I found the dress on a Saturday afternoon. Not white. Gold. Floor-length, elegant, impossible to ignore. The kind of dress that made people turn and stare. I tried it on in a boutique downtown. The mirror showed someone I barely recognized. Confident, beautiful, powerful. The sales associate smiled. "Special occasion?" "Very special," I said. "I'm attending my ex-husband's wedding." Her eyes widened. I paid for the dress, had it altered to fit perfectly. Every detail mattered now. This wasn't just about showing up. This was about reclaiming space, reclaiming power, reclaiming myself. I practiced walking in heels I hadn't worn in years. Practiced my expression in the mirror. Calm, composed, untouchable. Amy texted updates. Chloe's stressed. Keeps changing details. Daniel's distracted. Something's wrong with the company. I smiled. Phase 1 was working. Lang Industries had successfully stolen 2 of Daniel's major clients. His revenue was dropping. Board members were asking questions. The 3rd client would leave next week, right before the wedding. Perfect timing. I hung the gold dress in my closet and looked at it every morning. A reminder, a promise, a declaration. I'm not crashing their wedding, I told my reflection. I'm reclaiming it. 2 weeks until everything changed. I was ready, more than ready. I was inevitable. Victoria showed up at my apartment on a Wednesday evening. I hadn't seen her since the divorce. She looked older, tired, but still carried that same arrogance. "Emily," she said when I opened the door. Not a greeting, a judgment. "Victoria." I didn't invite her in. She noticed. "I heard you received the wedding invitation." I did. "Don't make a scene," she said, voice sharp. Don't humiliate yourself by showing up where you're not wanted. I leaned against the doorframe. Who says I'm not wanted? I was invited. Her eyes narrowed. That was a courtesy. Everyone knows you won't actually come. Everyone's wrong. Victoria stepped closer. Listen to me. Daniel has moved on. You're embarrassing yourself by clinging to the past. Find some dignity and stay home. I smiled. I have plenty of dignity. I'm just choosing to wear it in public. Her face went red. If you show up, you'll regret it. I'll make sure of it. I pulled out my phone. Hit record. Say that again. She realized what I was doing and stepped back. This conversation is over. I agree, I said. Tell Daniel I'll see him at the wedding. I closed the door, saved the recording, sent it to my lawyer with a note. Victoria Carter, threatening witness intimidation. Documentation. She replied immediately. Perfect. Keep collecting. That night, Amy texted. Victoria just called Chloe. Daniel's terrified you'll actually show up. Chloe's furious. This is amazing. I laughed out loud. Fear was good. Fear meant they understood something was coming. They just didn't know it yet. The gift arrived at their venue 3 days before the wedding. Beautifully wrapped. Gold paper, white ribbon. Elegant. The card read, for the happy couple. Open during your vows. With love, Emily. Inside was a small box. Inside that box, a flash drive. On that flash drive, every piece of evidence I'd compiled. Financial records. Embezzlement proof. Email chains. Everything that would destroy them. But they didn't know that yet. Amy texted me a photo. Your gift is on the head table. Chloe keeps staring at it. She's scared to open it. Good, I typed back. Let her wonder. The flash drive was a decoy. The real evidence was already with my lawyer, ready to file. But I wanted them distracted. Wanted them nervous. Wanted them to spend their wedding day wondering what was in that box. Psychological warfare. My specialty now. I'd learned it from watching Daniel manipulate everyone around him for years. Now I was better at it than he ever was. My lawyer confirmed everything was ready. We file May 28th at 9 a.m. The court will issue summons that afternoon. They'll be served May 29th. Your timing is perfect. And the press? I asked. Tipped off and ready. This will be front page news by the weekend. I thanked her and ended the call. Everything was in motion now. Unstoppable. Inevitable. 3 days until the filing. 4 days until the wedding. Daniel's empire was about to collapse, and he had no idea it was coming. Lang Industries finalized the acquisition on Tuesday morning. Daniel's third major client signed with us at 10:15 a.m. Thomas called me into his office immediately. Emily, I don't know what you did, but it worked. We just secured every major contract Daniel Carter had. I smiled. I just knew where to look. He shook his head, impressed. The board is promoting you. Senior Director of Strategic Development. Effective Monday. Thank you. Thomas leaned forward. There's more. Carter's company is filing for emergency restructuring. His investors are pulling out. He's drowning. I know, I said, because I'd helped make it happen. Not illegally, just strategically. Knowing his weaknesses, exploiting them, watching him fail under pressure he couldn't handle. My phone buzzed. Email from my lawyer. Filing confirmed. Summons issued. Press release ready. I read it twice, then forwarded it to Thomas. You should see this. It'll be public tomorrow. He opened the attachment. Read silently. Looked up at me with something like awe. You've been planning this for months. 18 months, I corrected. Since the day he took everything from me. He's finished, Thomas said. Not a question. Completely. I stood up. I have a wedding to attend this weekend. I'll need Friday off. Thomas laughed. Take the whole week. You've earned it. I walked back to my office, sat at my desk. looked at the city skyline through my window. Everything I'd lost, I'd rebuilt. Everything he'd taken, I'd replaced with something better. And now, finally, he'd lose everything too. Justice. Pure. Perfect. Inevitable. Friday morning, the news broke. Former executive accused of embezzlement. Daniel's face was everywhere. I arrived at Riverside Estate at 2:45 p.m., 15 minutes before the ceremony. The gold dress caught sunlight as I stepped out of my car. Valet parking. Professional. I'd planned every detail. The venue was exactly as I remembered. White columns, manicure gardens, a view of the river that made everything look peaceful. Deceptive. Guests were already seated. 200 people, maybe more. I heard whispers as I walked through the entrance. Heads turning. Voices dropping. Is that Emily Carter? What is she doing here? Oh my God, she actually came. I kept my expression neutral. Calm. I'd practiced this. Amy met me at the door. Eyes wide. Emily, you look incredible. Thank you. I scanned the room. Found my seat. Front row. Left side. Exactly where Amy had placed me. Right in Daniel's line of sight. Perfect. I sat down. Crossed my legs. Waited. The music started. Guests settled. The officiant took his place. Then Daniel appeared. Navy suit. Pale face. He saw me immediately. Froze. Actually froze mid-step. His best man whispered something. Daniel recovered. Barely. He took his position at the altar, but his eyes kept finding mine. Afraid. Confused. Trapped. I smiled. Small. Polite. Devastating. Chloe appeared next. White dress, long train, shaking hands. She saw me and stumbled. Actually stumbled. Her bridesmaid caught her. They whispered urgently. Chloe looked at me with pure hatred. I looked back with pure calm. This was my moment. My vindication. My victory. And it had only just begun. The officiant began. We are gathered here today. But nobody was listening. The whispers were too loud. Guests leaned toward each other. Phones appeared. People were texting, Googling, sharing. The news had broken yesterday. Everyone knew. Daniel's company. The embezzlement. The investigation. Front page scandal. And here he was, trying to get married like nothing was happening. Chloe's hands shook as she held her bouquet. Daniel's jaw was tight. Victoria sat in the front row on the right side, glaring at me across the aisle. I met her eyes. Didn't look away. She did. The officiant continued. Marriage is a sacred bond. More whispers. Someone's phone rang. They silenced it quickly, but the damage was done. This wasn't a wedding anymore. It was a spectacle. A disaster unfolding in real time. Amy had positioned herself near the gift table. She caught my eye. Nodded once. Everything was ready. The flash drive sat in its beautiful box, waiting to be opened. Except I'd changed the plan last night. Added something better. The officiant said, before we proceed with the vows, the couple has a gift they'd like to open together. Daniel's face went white. Chloe looked confused. What? She said. Too loud. The officiant smiled. The gift on the table. It was requested to be opened during the ceremony. Daniel looked at me. I looked back. Calm. Smiling. Waiting. He had no choice. Everyone was watching. Chloe walked to the table. Opened the box. Pulled out the flash drive. And the note. Her face drained of color. She read it. Then read it again. The note said, everything you stole. Every lie you told. Every life you ruined. Press play. Chloe looked at Daniel. He looked at me. The room was completely silent. Amy had prepared for this moment. A laptop. A projector. Already set up. Chloe inserted the flash drive. The screen behind the altar lit up. Financial records appeared. Transaction histories. Email chains between Daniel and Chloe discussing how to hide the embezzlement. Investor communications proving they'd lied about company performance. Everything. The audience gasped. Cameras flashed. Someone screamed. Daniel lunged toward the laptop. Too late. The evidence was already displaying. Page after page. Undeniable. Devastating. Chloe dropped the flash drive. Backed away. We didn't. You did, I said, standing now, voice clear, carrying across the room. You stole from your investors. You lied to your clients. You destroyed lives to fund your lifestyle. Daniel's face was red. Emily, stop this. No, I said. You wanted attention. You wanted everyone to see how successful you were, how happy you were, how you'd replace me with someone better. I gestured to the screen. Now they see the truth. Victoria stood up. This is slander. It's evidence, my lawyer said. She'd been sitting 3 rows back. She walked forward now, handed Daniel an envelope. You've been served. Criminal charges, filed yesterday. Civil lawsuit, filed this morning. The SEC investigation begins Monday. The room erupted. Guests stood. Phones everywhere. Daniel opened the envelope. Read it. His hands shook. Chloe was crying. Mascara running. Her perfect day destroyed. Just like she'd destroyed my marriage. You always wanted attention, I said softly. Just to them. Enjoy it. Chaos. Pure chaos. Guests were leaving. Investors were furious. People Daniel had stolen from were there, watching him realize he'd been exposed. Publicly. Permanently. Someone called the police. I heard sirens in the distance. My lawyer stood beside me. Professional. Prepared. The evidence is documented, she announced to the room. Copies have been filed with appropriate authorities. Anyone with financial losses should contact my office. She handed out business cards. Actual business cards. At a wedding. Daniel tried to speak. This is a misunderstanding. Emily is bitter about the divorce. I'm not bitter, I said. I'm thorough. I turned to Chloe. You wanted my life. My house. My husband. You got them. Now deal with the consequences. She lunged at me. Actually lunged. 2 groomsmen caught her. Held her back while she screamed. Victoria was yelling at the officiant, demanding he continue, demanding they finish the ceremony. Nobody listened. The venue manager appeared. I'm afraid I have to ask everyone to leave. The police are en route. I walked toward the exit. Slowly. Deliberately. Let them all see me leaving. Calm. Victorious. Untouched. Amy caught up with me. That was incredible. Thank you for everything, I said. She hugged me. You deserved this. Outside, the sun was setting. Gold light everywhere. Matching my dress perfectly. My lawyer joined me. By Monday, they'll have nothing left. Criminal charges. Civil suits. The company's bankruptcy filing. It's over. I looked back at the venue. At the chaos I'd created. At the justice I'd delivered. Good, said. Let it burn. I drove home as the sun disappeared. The gold dress caught the last rays of light through my windshield. Everything felt different now. Lighter. Complete. My phone rang. Thomas Lang. Emily, I'm seeing the news. Is everything okay? Everything's perfect, I said. I'll see you Monday. Take the week, he repeated. You've earned it. I thanked him and disconnected. Another call came immediately. Amy. The police arrived. Daniel and Chloe are being questioned. Victoria's threatening lawsuits. It's madness. Good. Also, Amy continued, 3 different news outlets want to interview you. They're calling you the Phoenix executive, the woman who rebuilt her life and exposed corporate fraud. I smiled. Phoenix executive. I liked that. Tell them I'll consider it. Another call. My lawyer. It's official. The company is filing for emergency bankruptcy. The criminal charges are proceeding. Daniel's assets are being frozen. Chloe's too. What about Victoria? I asked. She paused. Turns out she was involved. Signed off on several fraudulent transactions. She's being charged too. I closed my eyes. Justice. Complete justice. Not just for me. For everyone they'd hurt. Every investor they'd lied to. Every employee they'd betrayed. Everyone who'd trusted them. Thank you, I said. You did this, she replied. I just filed the paperwork. I pulled into my parking space, sat in my car, looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror. The woman looking back was someone I'd fought to become. Someone stronger. Someone who'd turned humiliation into power. Someone who'd won. You'll regret this, Daniel had said during the divorce. I smiled. No, I said to my reflection. You will. Monday morning, I walked into Lang Industries wearing my new title, Senior Director of Strategic Development. My office was bigger, better view, better everything. The news was still running stories. Corporate scandal unfolds. Former secretary implicated in fraud. Ex-wife exposes embezzlement scheme. Daniel's company officially declared bankruptcy. Clients fled. Investors sued. The board voted to dissolve. Everything gone. Chloe released a statement. I was manipulated. I didn't know. Nobody believed her. The evidence showed she'd actively participated. Signed documents. Transferred funds. She knew. Victoria hired 3 lawyers. Tried to fight the charges. It didn't matter. The proof was overwhelming. Her signature. Her authorization. Her guilt. And Daniel. He disappeared from public view. No statements. No appearances. Just silence. The kind of silence that comes when everything you built collapses and everyone sees who you really are. Thomas stopped by my office. The press wants to feature you. Woman rebuilds career after devastating divorce. Exposes corporate fraud. Good publicity for us. I'll do it, I said. On my terms. He agreed. The interview happened Wednesday. I wore the gold dress. The journalist asked how it felt to expose my ex-husband. It feels like justice, I said. Not revenge. Justice. What's the difference? Revenge is emotional. Justice is earned. The interview went viral. Shared across social media. Comments flooded in. Women supporting women. People praising my courage. Others calling me vindictive. I didn't care about the critics. I cared about the truth. And the truth was documented. Provable. Undeniable. Friday afternoon, my lawyer called. Daniel wants to meet. I laughed. No, he's asking for forgiveness. Tell him I'm unavailable. Emily, she said gently, it might give you closure. I considered that. Fine. My office. Tomorrow. 2 p.m.